Ice Locked here with Nocturne Gaming, back with more Legends of Idleon, and we're taking a look at the World 2 skill, Alchemy. Alchemy is a passive skill that provides a ton of benefits to almost every other section in the game. This skill is leveled passively by placing your characters into one of three sections, and each character you have can be placed separately. However, you gain the most experience by placing characters in the liquid section, but more details on this later. The Shaman class specializes in alchemy and gains a few talent points to help you progress faster. Another thing to note is alchemy speed scales from wisdom, so make sure you're using your characters with the most wisdom in the locations you want to increase the fastest. Alchemy is separated into four sections. They are brewing, liquids, vials, and the pay to win tab. So, starting with the brewing section first, when you first open the alchemy menu, there are four cauldrons here at the bottom, and each of these cauldrons have the same option, but they have to be leveled separately. When you first click on a cauldron, you'll see quite a few things here. First is the brew bar at the top, and this fills up passively as long as you have at least one character assigned to this cauldron. On the left hand side, this number here tells you how many times this bar has filled up. And each time you fill this bar up, you can spend it by clicking the brew button. There's a couple different options on where to spend it, and we'll get to that in just a second. Below that, this number is your brew speed per hour. This tells you how fast this bar will fill up. And the number next to the bubble here is your chance to unlock a new bubble for this cauldron. This box here below it is where you have the characters you have assigned to this cauldron. And if you click on the character to the right hand side here on this menu, you'll be able to add another character. When you add more characters, it will increase your brew speed per hour depending on their level and how much passive they can give you. On the right hand side here, we have a couple options here. First is selecting the bubble, which is how to unlock new bubbles. And then the boost section gives us a few extra stats that we can upgrade by spending our brew. The first is speed, and this increases the speed of your brewing by 5% per level. It does have its own XP bar here, and this is how much brew it costs to level it up. The next is luck, and luck increases the chance of discovering a new bubble. However, there is a catch here, and luck is only effective if it's an odd level here. Even levels do nothing for you. So make sure as you're leveling up, you always stop on an odd number. Next is the cost, which decreases the cost of leveling up anything in your cauldron and how much brew you need to spend. And lastly is the 2x extra bubble, and this gives you a chance to boost any of the other three options twice for the cost of boosting it once. So now you can select any of these four options and click brew, and this will spend 1 bar's worth of brew, and it'll spend the entire amount. So I need roughly 60,000 to level this up, so I should gain multiple levels by clicking brew. Each time that you click brew, it will spend a bar's worth of the brew, and so we're going to try for a new bubble here. Oh, I did get a new bubble. And when you unlock a new bubble, they'll appear above the cauldron here, and you can have up to 20 bubbles for each of these cauldrons. There are two types of bubbles that you can unlock. The small bubbles will have a Roman numeral like this inside of them, and the large bubbles will have an icon of sorts like this mining pickaxe here. The main difference between the small bubbles and the large bubbles is the small bubbles are passive and will always give their bonus. The large bubbles must be equipped by selecting a large bubble and then selecting the character you want to assign it to here on the right side. When you click any of these bubbles, there's a few pieces of information that you need to pay attention to. First, at the top here is the stat that it's going to give you. So this bubble will give me more total strength. And each time I level this up, it will give me an additional point of strength. At the bottom is the cost to level this up. On the right-hand side, it tells me my current level, as well as the upgrade button to spend resources to level this up. So as you can see, as I level this up a few times, my total strength has gone up. So each of these bubbles has different passives that it will give you. Each time you level up a bubble, it will increase the cost of the resources here, and it will spend some liquid as well. So this can get quite expensive. One other thing to mention is each color of the cauldron represents a main stat, such as orange for strength, and it gives benefits towards warriors, barbarians, and squires. The green is for agility, and it's focused on the archer subclasses. Purple is for wisdom, for the mage subclasses, and yellow is the luck, which focuses primarily on drop rates and gives benefits to the maestro subclass. Next, we're taking a look at the liquids tab, and liquid has two parts: generating liquids from the cauldrons here below and spending the liquids in various places. Cauldrons are like the cauldrons in the brewing tab, but they make liquid instead of the colored brews. So if we click on one, here you can see that we have a bar here that fills up, and here is our rate per hour that we gain liquid in. However, there's one main difference in that this liquid bar has a cap and it can never go over that cap. So you need to spend this liquid before you can continue generating more. Below that is the section where we assign our characters, and if you see, we can click on one on the side here, and it does increase your liquid generation speed per hour by having a character assigned. This is where you generate the most EXP per hour by having characters assigned in here. So if you want to level your characters up quickly, this is the place to do it. Below that, we have our two options to upgrade, and this is upgraded by spending the liquid of this cauldron. So you have to make a choice if you want to spend it here versus in other places that we'll get to in just a minute. The two options are the cap, which increases the maximum capacity of the liquid of this cauldron. So by upgrading the water cauldron, it will only upgrade your water cauldron. The second option is upgrading the rate, which increases the liquid regeneration speed and will allow you to gain more liquid per hour. So as you can see, by hitting the decant button, it spins one at a time, and we need quite a bit of it to level up. Initially, you'll only have access to the water cauldron, and at alchemy level 20, you'll unlock the liquid nitrogen cauldron, and at alchemy level 35, you'll unlock the trench seawater cauldron. Each of the cauldrons have to be upgraded separately, but once it's done, you will always generate a good amount of liquid each hour. So there are a few ways to spend your liquid, and first is simply spending your liquid to upgrade the cauldron's cap and rate. The second is spending your liquid in the shop here on the screen, and there are two levels of the shop. And the first level basically uses your water droplets, and some of them will require your liquid nitrogen. On the second shop, you'll only unlock this when you've unlocked your trench seawater here, and it has a few more options here, but the most notable of these is the bargain tag, which reduces the cost to upgrade a bubble, and you can get this all the way up to 90% off. However, once you upgrade a bubble, this goes away. The cost of this does reset each day, so you can spend a few days upgrading this to make it as cheap as possible. The last option for spending your liquids is simply on upgrading your brewing bubbles that need different types of liquids, or in the Vials tab, it will also need liquids. So now for the Vials tab. Vials are very similar to bubbles from the Brewing tab, and they can be upgraded to provide scaling benefits. To unlock a vial, you need to collect one of the item that you want to unlock as a vial, and you simply drag and drop it in front of the cauldron here, and we can see that a dice roll happens, and as long as you roll above the number that it needs, you'll unlock that item. It only consumes this item if it's successful in unlocking a vial. You have several chances each day, and you can also drop multiple vials or multiple items to try to unlock multiple vials. There is a chance that you can get these epic moments that gives you multiple rolls for dropping one item. At the top of the screen of the vial section, you can see the number of daily attempts that you have to unlock a vial. Initially, you'll only have 3 attempts each day to unlock a new vial, and this resets each day when your general shop of each world restocks. Once you've unlocked any vial, you can select that vial in the menu, and you can see the benefit that it provides here in this top box. Below that is the cost, which tells you how much it costs to upgrade this vial by 1 level. The material cost here and the liquid will increase each time you level up, and this cost does scale fairly quickly. So there is a limited number of resources that you need to level this all the way up. On the right hand side, you see the level here, and the level of each vial can only go up to level 10. It does cost quite a bit to do this, so it may take you a while. And on to the pay to win tab now. This tab is called pay to win as almost everything in this section cost coins to upgrade. In the cauldron section, you can see that you can upgrade 3 different stats for each of these cauldrons separately. If you haven't selected anything here, it shows you the maximum level that you can level each of these requirements are. There's speed, which increases your brewing speed per hour, new bubble, which increases the chance to gain a new bubble, and boost requirements, which lowers the cost to attempt to gain a new bubble or level up your boosts. If you click on one of the cauldrons, you can see the current level of each of these stats. Each of these stats does have a coin cost that scales decently, but not too excessively, and you can see what the total benefit that each of these different stats gain for this cauldron. Each of these cauldrons are separate, so you do have to level them, and make sure that you are aware of how much coins you have before you spend them all upgrading only one of the cauldrons. In the liquid sections, this is very similar to the cauldrons, as you can upgrade your region and your capacity here for your liquid cauldrons. Each of these also has to be leveled up separately. Next is the vials section, and there's 2 sections we can upgrade here. First is the number of attempts to gain a new vial. This cost does scale very quickly and can easily bankrupt a character if you're not paying attention. Next is the RNG one, which increases the chance of getting that epic gamer moment to give us more dice rolls for dropping one item. This really just helps you spend your chances a little bit faster, as it does use more attempts each time it rolls a dice. However, it can be very useful for that last attempt because you can get more dice rolls than you actually have attempts for, unlocking that new vial. This is capped at level 45 here and gives you a maximum of 420% chance to get an epic gamer moment. Below this is the player section here, and we have 2 upgrades that we can spend coins on to level up. These are capped based on the highest maximum level that you have for any character. So my highest level is 52, and that's the highest I can level up these 2 benefits. First is Alchemy Speed, which simply increases the speed of everything related to alchemy. Your EXP, your brewing speed, your liquid regeneration rate, all of it gets upgraded with this. And then your extra EXP simply gives you more experience as you passively gain experience in alchemy. The last section we want to talk about are sigils, and this has been recently added into the game. There are currently 16 sigils available in alchemy, but to unlock sigils, you need to have sigils of the olden alchemy activated in the laboratory. I do have a laboratory guide out that goes over this briefly, and you can check that in the link in the description below. And once you have it activated, you can start unlocking new sigils. Each sigil here has 2 levels, and you can kind of see this is a sigil that hasn't been leveled at all. This is a level 1 sigil, and this is a level 2 sigil here. The 2 levels are considered unlocked, and it has this blue color here, and this means it gives you the stats that it says, but it can still be upgraded one more time to get to the boosted level, and then it usually gives you quite a bit more stats. You can unlock and boost these sigils by assigning a character to them, and each character assigned to a sigil will give it 1 sigil EXP per hour. So it does take quite a bit of time to boost these sigils. The initial unlock will usually take less than a day at the current pace that I'm at right now, with one character, but the boost can take quite a bit of time. After a sigil has reached the boosted level, there's no longer any point to having a character assigned to it at this point, as you won't gain any more sigil experience. Once you have unlocked a sigil and it is highlighted in this blue here, it will unlock the next sigil here. So it does not have to be boosted to start working on the next sigil if it's not a stat that you want to focus on. Currently, the first 4 that I've unlocked are just the base stats. And then the next one is a weapon damage one. So these boosts can be quite beneficial for you with a very small investment into your sigils. One last thing to note is Shaman's talents to help with alchemy. And on tab 3, the first one that I want to talk about is Bubble Breakthrough, which increases your alchemy EXP, but it also increases the odds of gaining a new bubble when brewing on this player. My recommendation is never try to unlock a bubble unless you're using your shaman with this talent, as it massively increases your odds of gaining that new bubble and will hopefully speed up your process of unlocking all of your bubbles. The next one we want to talk about is Busy Brewing here, which increases the brew speed of this character. The problem with this one is it only works if this character is online and actively doing something. If this character is offline, this brew talent does not increase your brew speed. Cranium Cooking is another one that an active shaman gains, and while this skill is active, killing a monster gives you instant alchemy progress. This can help speed up your brewing speed by quite a bit if you're actively playing on your shaman. And the last one that I want to talk about is Sharing Some Smarts, which increases the alchemy experience of all characters, including this one, that are in the same cauldron as the shaman. This is really beneficial by assigning your shaman into a liquid cauldron and then putting a couple other characters in there with it will help increase your alchemy speeds drastically. If you would like more information on how to increase your efficiency in alchemy, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this type of content, and a huge shout out to our Patreon members that support the work we do. Thank you from all of us here at Nocturne Gaming. If you would like to become a patron and get some added benefits, check out the link in the description. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave them down below for me, and we'll see you next time.